all those people you're going to try and convert need you to hold their hands, and that's what Chris told us. You know, this is a big deal, and no amount of sort of angry or demand. Just take wine or pasties and kindness that's going to get this one through. So what I'm going to do is share some examples. We'll talk through a few things, and just at the end, some of you have seen these, but these are 10 pledges, and this really is the culmination of my 6 years here in climate change and risk management. And these are 10 pledges that you can do to get resilient to climate change, mitigation as well. Now, for you to know, but you don't need to tell the people you're convincing, behind each one is about 20 behavioural change journals, and they're ordered in a particular way. So when they do these things, they do, and the first bit's like, oh, that's easy, oh, the second one's eating, that's fine, oh, the third one. Then it gets a little bit tricky, then it gets a bit emotional. But when they get down to number 10, they're rock on and they're just like you. So your goal is to get them down to that level, all right? But they don't just do them and that's it. It has a lasting effect, and we'll talk about some of them. So, and this is free for you to have. They're online, the artwork. I'll hand them out after, only just to focus for the moment. Anybody can have these. All I ask is you put our Climate Vision logo on, and that's only so that people know who to come back to when they hopefully say, can we use it for our group, organisation, local authority. So the first bit is, if we can, I think we've got now, haven't we? If we can just very quickly, if you can just say your name and what area you're from, that'd be really nice. So
I'm Mary, I'm from Bodmin. Melanie from Strooklands and near Callington. Claire from Hamilton.
Simon from Bute. Vernon from Constantine.
Jay from Hamilton.
Rutland, Westwood
Larry from Dublin. Ariadne from Larry. Tatiana from Perriman. Bruce from Holsville. Alex from Adop near Falmouth.
Steve from Chasewater.
Ruth Sunnels.
Jonathan from Parish.
Ned from Gerrans.
Tony from Truro.
Judy from Beyond Bodmin.
Emma from Falmouth.
Guy from Redruth.
Katia from Redruth.
Bren from Stokelands and fellow parishioners. Chris from St Justine Wellsman's Parish Council.
Richard from Carn and Downs, Fiat Parish Council.
My apologies. Can I just ask if anybody picked up a mobile phone by any chance?
There is one in the ladies' loo that was found. It might not be
Ladies'
yours.
loo.
go for it.
Maria from.
I'm Sophie from Paranormal.
Okay. So quite a few of you have experienced particular events, things like at St Mawes. You've had various things going on with the sea breaching, and St Austell, you're very aware of things happening in Parr and St Blazy. I think most places have had some sort of experience or not, or close to, or might know, but I can think of various places that you might be thinking about now that have had events where you might want to be able to get people to think about events that have happened. We want you to become the catalyst, people to become active in doing something about this. And talking about climate change is tricky. Amanda drew on that earlier, so I wasn't here all day, but I was listening all day. I was out in the woods listening, I was in the bath listening, I was everywhere listening. And it's been very interesting to hear what people have been talking about, because one of the first things I want you to do is to have a chat with each other just for a minute, because it's really difficult to actually talk about this topic beyond what you see on the news and what you might talk about in your area. So with the person on your, well, you can partner up, and just for 1 minute, and I'm going to time you, one of you, I'm going to come back to the other one in a minute, so don't cheat, one of you can make a start. You've got 1 minute that I would like for you to be talking about climate change, whatever it is. So are you ready with your partners? And this is an exercise to force yourself to talk about it for a minute. Right, go.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue in my opinion with climate change is the issue of food insecurity and how the warming climate and so it's kind of a feedback loop where the warming climate is changing our soils and our environment, but also the way we are cultivating our soils and our biodiversity is enhancing that, and we're not thinking in the long term and how we can try to make it more resilient and
I actually,
long lasting.
I mean, we're very sad at the beginning of the but I thought and I think that it would be worth thinking but I don't want it to be left in such a state that everything else
Where maybe it's not their first
and
priority.
that tax becomes a place that doesn't support life. That's my big
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well done. That was good. Not too many pauses, just a few pauses. Right, just 2 or 3 volunteers. Who's going to volunteer what they were talking about? Come on, be confident.
We were told that the IPCC were conservative in their figures. Does that mean that this 11-year thing is actually a bit too optimistic?
No one's really sure.
Possibly. If that's what you were talking about, that's great. I'd say we need to cut emissions yesterday. Let's get on with it. And we can, because it's easy. It doesn't have to cost them too much. Go on.
My concern is that, based on that, a little woolly around when things are likely to happen, and hearing about the long lead time for getting things implemented, I feel that we need to take more drastic action in order to move that on.
It is an emergency.
Wait for a plan that takes 3 years. If we're going up 0.2 of a degree every decade, in the loose terms, that's quite a large proportion is 3 out of those 10 years.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. And I think you're right about the lead-in times and how long these things take. And one of the important things, there's a guy called Oppenheimer that said, until somebody says what day and what date it's going to happen, people won't act.
Yeah.
But actually, you need to start now. And this isn't plugging myself, but somebody's just asked me to quote for helping them with their thing, and I've given them a 40% discount if their counsellors all do these and evidence them in a month. They can have a 40% discount. So, you know, that's the reality. You're absolutely right. Just another, what were you talking about?
I grew up in the Bodmin town, and my concern is about coming from a town which has got an awful lot of problems that it's dealing with. That I feel that getting this on the agenda, when in many people's minds it's sort of fairly low priority, it's not going to feel imminent, and I don't feel confident about how that conversation gets started and how many people there will be there to get behind it.
Okay, all right, brilliant. And that's absolutely right, and that's what this workshop's about. And the PowerPoint you can ask me for, and I can send it to you later. And with a bit of practice, you can use exactly the same PowerPoint and go to your parish council with it. Okay. Tell me one more. One.
Climate change and food security and freshwater supply.
Okay. And when you got a bit stuck, what was that bit stuck on? And it's fine because that's the whole point.
Yeah.
You do get stuck. That's the whole
I
point.
think they were to respond to me, because
That's fine.
the whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, and that's the practice, because we will do it again in a minute, and it'll be the other one, but they're under more pressure, because they've got to go for 2 minutes, and you've got to keep going. And even if it's a load of waffle, try and draw from something that you heard today, so that you can exercise actually saying it, so that you in a better position when you go and sit there, and it might develop more questions. I'm just going to turn to just a few examples of what I use. So I've got a few roles. I'm Diocesan Environment Officer. I sit on the Strategic Resilience Board for Cornwall Council. I sit on the Coastal Committee for the South West. That's for the Environment Agency and something else. Anyway, the point being, all those people still need convincing to act. Right up till last week. So, you know, there's no difference. So, do you consider yourself to be in a position to help others? Do you? Feel good? Feel ready? Okay. I tell a story using these 4 people, and I introduce them as my heroes. Now, William Wallace, 18th century vicar from Ludgburn. Lord Krebs, Daniel Johns, came up with climate change risk assessment. It's my favourite reading. It's that. This is Dave Watkins, who's doing a workshop here. He's the hydrologist for Cornwall Council. I think he's God number 2. Okay, so those are my heroes, and I like to tell people a little bit about them and why. And the reason for that is not everybody wants to see a graph. A lot of people glaze over at graphs. I'm one of them. I've got 2 degrees in climate science. It was difficult, I tell you. So, Borlase, he went down to Marazion one day, 24th of January 1757, went for a walk, tripped over something, and realised that there was a bit of a tree stump, couldn't understand, thrown over, went home, got Mrs. B, got a spade, went back, don't know who did the digging, but found this submerged forest. And then he wrote a letter to the Dean of Exeter and said, subsequently, since this forest had been overthrown by some force of nature, the sea level had risen 16 feet. Around St Michael's Mount was a submerged forest. And back in the day, you couldn't even see the mount for the forest, it was that thick, extending to Scilly. So when you think about Lyonesse and all that, it's true, there was life there. So this is a wonderful romantic way of communicating sea level rise. And to take that a step further, when we talk about, when people say, and your parishioners or people you speak to might go, oh, it's all happened before, if you still get that argument, this happened. You can say, yes, it's happened about 4 to 6 times in the last 3 million years. But this one's different. As the glaciers grow and as they shrink over time, and the sea level corresponds, which is what happened here, the sea level rose 16 feet. That thing keeps happening naturally anyway. We don't need to talk about the science there, ring me up one day, I'll tell you all about it. But here's the cycles in the ice core, it's like that. And this one we're in goes way off, so it's different. That's quite a nice way to explain to people. I'd do anything to have a cup of coffee with him now and talk about that. You didn't know about the ice cores. But those records, unfortunately, show the climate split in as little as a decade before. And that's one of the things that Stefan taught me. Now, if you do like graphs, you can look at this from Red Mountain, you can have that. They're not equal, let's love them. So, on the day that Lord Krebs presented this in the climate change risk assessment, next to the Thames, and there we were on that date, which turned out to be one of the hottest days and was becoming a big heat wave on that day while we were there. And as he pointed out these problems, and then the Met Office guy stood up and said, well, we won't be in this room in a decade or 2, next to the Thames. It'll be underwater. And I was sitting next to the Sunday Times editor, who was just sitting there bored with his pen in his mouth, like that, and he dropped it, and he dropped his clipboard, and he said, what? And that's what the climate change risk assessment says. Incidentally, I know very well about heat wave. We got told that day at a conference, there's a level 2 heat wave going on, take care. I crossed London, got onto Paddington, drank my bottle of water every half an hour, got on the train, really feeling quite ill now, so was everybody else. Couldn't get taxis anywhere because everybody wanted one, nobody could walk. Heart was really feeling it like I've never known before. I was drinking, doing everything you're meant to do. We were getting horizontal on the train. We were sick for about 3 days, all of us. And that was years ago. So just to say, you know, we've got this heat coming. Here's Daniel Johns. He's brilliant. He wrote this climate change risk assessment. We got him down to Truro, to the Flood Forum. I've been chair of the Flood Forum for the last 4 years. And asked him to come down and can you present in Truro? Invited all the engineers and everybody who's been involved in flood. And he said, heavy rainfall events we know are going to increase by 500% between now and the end of the century. So things like Coverack are going to happen. most people who are trying to convince their brains already end of the century, not in my lifetime, bring them back and say between now and the end of the century. So we have to be prepared, we have to be ready. And these are little slides, little things, something will appeal to you that you can talk to other people about. So you can flip through this and think about what works for you, what have you heard today, you can use these to back up. So here's Dave's work, and he was talking about various events in different areas where Cornwall's been hammered by these storms and will continue to do so. Coverack was the worst storm ever recorded in the UK. And while that's happened, there'll be more to come. So again, if you could consider yourself in a position to think about these things and to help others consider them. You've had a lot of scary stuff today, and we're going to come on to the nice stuff in a minute, because you have to balance this stuff up. All right, you kind of just go, right, so we're coming to a nice place. Think about the cake you've just had as well. Now it's time to switch to the other person. It's going to go for 2 minutes now, and it doesn't have to be about any of those. Just take a moment, like something else that we've talked about today. Just exercise using that vocabulary. 2 minutes is quite a long time, but here's your opportunity to do it in an environment where you can make as many mistakes as you like. Is the other person ready? Okay, go.
I've always been concerned about global warming, really, climate change and our effects, and I've always tried to do everything possible. I've always done my recycling, allotments, and tried to raise my family to be aware of that, and then this new IPCC report and the emergence of extinction value. These things have come together and really heightened my awareness and my realisation that this isn't a linear event that we can still mitigate over the next 20, 30 years. It's actually happening now in a non-linear perfect storm of feedback loops, and it just frustrates me when people talk about getting 80% reduction in CO2 by 2050. We're dead, life on Earth is gone by then. I just can't understand why people don't realise this needs an emergency. That's why we're calling it an emergency. Because the house is on fire and you don't think about what you want to take with you when your house is on fire. You get I constantly find myself really emotionally fragile. We need to start to take on board the enormity. We've got 4 kids. And it's great. And there's a possibility that we might still be able to do something about it. I'm not even convinced it's, that graph where there's that hill. I'm really worried we're over what are you going to do? You're going to join one of the groups that's just accepting the end, coming to terms with it. I've got kids that can't feel
I think it's about finding ways of communicating to people. It's so difficult.
You were all going belting, so it's brilliant. I mean, workshop over, go home early. It's really, really good, and it's really, really encouraging, so that's great. Can we have a few examples of what you might have been talking about? Any at the back?
This lady here, she's done a very good conversation.
Great.
I think one of the things I felt today hasn't come up is my environmental concern, which is it's all very well talking about ourselves as human beings and how we might save us and how we might provide energy for us and how we're going to give alternative energy to continue the lifestyle we still have. The lifestyle we still have is not going to support the wild It's not going to allow the earth itself to continue to breathe and exist. Therefore, how do we bring about a change where we have not seen social change, we have not seen support of people who are poor, we have not seen a complete restructure of thinking around what success means, what value means? How do we do all that? Those words haven't come up today. What is valuable to us? We keep taking on possessions, we keep having things. We're asked to give them away. People desperately hoard. How do we change that? Maybe it just does come down to the individual to say, I take responsibility for that, I will act that way. And I looked up online last night, the houses that are just outside Truro, the Georgian ones, Georgian look, they cost between £280,000 and £500,000. I'd like to ask who's actually buying them or able to buy them, and what infrastructure went in to support the amount of energy they were taking. So, beyond that, where's the wildlife? Where's our connection with nature? How have we lost that? We have lost it. We stopped being part of our ecosphere. How do we bring that into a conversation? Beyond, let's just replace this energy with another energy and worry about how much that costs. I think the big thing is there's such an uprising now that we could have hope that people are starting very much to think. People that don't normally think about this are starting to think in that way, and this is the time for everyone to scoop them up and, as I said, positively handhold, drag a little perhaps into this sort of thinking, and hopefully these 10 pledges, you can ask somebody, we'll come on to them, but it's a way of getting people to think about these things that might not, and they're a good way of getting around awkward. So awkward people that you might find a little bit difficult, you can say, oh, you know, Cornwall Council did these, or oh, the Bishop did these, or, you know, the glossy magazine Cornwall Today, the editor of that, Kirsty Newton, she did these, and when she did her carbon footprint, that girl was upset, very. That said she was on my spine about her email. So, what I would say is, people are starting to think like that, and these will help you do that. So if they start to look at their carbon footprint, and it tells them you need 3 planets, actually when you're on your own, in front of a computer, that hurts. That does get emotions going. So you're absolutely right. Somebody else that had a 2-minute conversation? Somebody else want to share what they were talking about?
I was talking, this is my friend Katja, by the way, and we've known each other for ages and we're all very environmentally conscious. I would like to say that I think I'm environmentally conscious, so I came here today and I didn't know half the stuff that I know now. And I was absolutely terrified this morning. I was already scared and I got really scared. I'm Parish Clerk for Stoke Crimson and St Mellion. I want to go back and get them to declare a climate emergency.
Well done.
I want to do everything I can. I always have done. But I've only been Parish Clerk since August. And the problem I've got is if I am the person who tries to get them to absorb all this information and then says, right, I'll put on the agenda that we declare a climate emergency, it's going to look like I'm stepping beyond my remit as Parish Clerk because I'm supposed to remain neutral. So I need to find a champion.
We can fix that in 10 seconds. There's 2 other people.
Yes, that's what I was saying next.
I was thinking as I was driving here in my electric car, which I have to say something about because there was a question earlier and I wasn't here that I must answer. And that was when you're organising groups or you're trying to influence groups, I think in the parish council the most important person is the parish clerk. Get on side to buy the cake, pasty or wine, whichever. I think in say in a pub or a restaurant or something, it's actually the head chef. Forget the owner of the pub. It's, you know, wherever it's the caretaker in the school, it's these people that you want to get on side. So in your situation, I can understand that, and I've been a parish clerk myself, so I get it. Yeah, but if these guys were able to write to the chairman and, you know, find something out about him and be nice in your letter,
She's
she
lovely,
would do
actually.
anyway.
You can't find the floor.
She would do anyway, and then that gives you.
Or attend the public meetings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes a little bit of you're right, a little bit of practice for people to go, oh yeah, well, I saw something in Cornwall Council declared, oh, I've looked that up, and they can become a bit savvy, just to give them, is great. And if you say you're gonna come along, but give them a bit of warning beforehand,
It
gives
is going to be,
everybody-
it is this today, this conference, I'm going to report back on my attendance here in the next parish meeting. It's going to be on the agenda. If you want to come,
Oh, definitely.
please do.
Without a doubt.
It's a week on Monday.
yay, here we go.
The resolution that we call the council or the text there.
I don't have it on me right now, but it's easy to look up. No, it's quite, yeah, no, it's quite short, it's about that long.
Okay.
But what I would do is grab a friend and Google it together and say, you won't believe what I heard today. That's what the sort of thing you want to do.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Yes.
So I'm also parish clerk,
Yay!
I wonder if there are any more clerks in the room? I just kind of feel, and I just wonder actually, it'd be quite useful to know who is here today, who has held this particular role and position. And I was thinking exactly the same thing, because I've actually something similar, apparently. So I was thinking about the annual parish meeting, perhaps making that as a main subject for discussion then or something.
Yeah. Does anybody else
But
live in
I wonder if we
Farnborough?
could- Yeah.
Anyone else in Farnborough? No.
But I wonder whether we could.
I've got a friend that can ask.
Just, yeah, 3 of us maybe.
Yeah.
I know our parish clerk is here from Strobel from the as well.
Okay, brilliant. Are you looking for somebody to do similar? Is
Yeah,
that- Yeah,
sorry, in terms
to
of
suggest that,
the current emergency, yes, yes.
okay.
Yeah.
I can fix that. That's fine.
How should we do it? Yeah, I don't know.
The gentleman.
Yeah, no, I just want to reflect what the lady was saying really is I think the parish clerk is a difficult position to advocate from because they are meant to be neutral.
Yeah.
And if you're not very careful, if the clerk who's meant to be neutral starts advocating positions, you could very well have the opposite effect to which you intended because the councillors could well take offence at that
Yeah.
and
Hence-
tell you where you might go with it.
Yeah, hence if people outside are asking, then the clerk's
So you-
got to do a job.
You probably, I would suggest, or you might be better to try and get one of the other parish councillors to introduce the subject or something like that. Find a way round that rather than necessarily
Yeah.
putting yourself up to have your legs cut taken away from
Yeah.
underneath you.
And I think that's what these guys are saying, is just somebody else to go in and then, you know, if you write to the chairman and sort of find it that way, it's pretty important.
I've never been involved with my parish council at all, but I want to be now.
Great.
I'm wondering how you even get involved with that. I've just never.
You can just
thought of it.
contact, if you just look on your CAPTC, Cornwall Association of Parish and Town Councils, if you just look up who's my local council, parish council online, and all the details will be there.
You'll probably find there's a vacancy anyway.
No one from my parish council's here, so.
Well, this is the thing, you could
I'm
probably
obviously
say,
asking for the job.
you could probably say, hey, I've just been to this thing, and there were lots of parish clerks there, la 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 la.
I did the
Can
same
I just-
masters as you, by the way.
Pardon?
I did the same masters as you.
Great, so
10 years
you're
ago.
perfectly able then, just to go and say, can I just have 5 minutes in the public time? And then they've got somebody that's gonna help them, because when I was a parish clerk, I had 10 fellas and 1 lady or 2 ladies. And all those, and I was a lot younger then, but I saw all those guys that are like my dad, and the 2 ladies were like my mum, and that's how I saw it. I can't expect them to be experts, they know their parish, and they knew what was going on. But at the end of the day, they're ordinary people that weren't here today for one reason or another. So if by going there, if you go with that, you know, with it in your head, that to go gently with them and to try and inspire them and say you'll give them a hand, I think any parish council is going to be happy with that because most know what's going on. Great. At the back?
Yes, on the point of parish councils, I've been parish councillor for 2 years. I didn't know anyone on the parish council whatsoever, and there was a particular issue in our village, and it rattled my cage, as you might say. So I was moaning to my next door neighbour, and he said, "Well, stop moaning to me. He said, "Don't moan about anything anymore. Go to the parish council." So I went down, and for a year I sat in the parish council meetings, and they invited me to stay every time. And I sat there and listened and took it all in. And then lo and behold, before I know where I am,
You became
I'm
councillor.
representing it at the parish everywhere, and I've been there 2
Well
years.
done.
But we need young people.
Yes.
That's the one
Yes.
thing we do need.
Go
And
for it.
you know, it's wonderful to see a lot of young people here now, and your parish council got a load of old people like me. But we're all right for a bit. But we,
I'll just take the gentleman Constantine and then this lady.
In response to the question of Cornwall Council's declaration
Yeah.
of climate emergency,
Yeah.
there's now a Cornwall Council website called climatechange.gov.uk, where there's lots of information linked to it, including to the minutes of the council on the 22nd of February, which made this decision. They also have a video streaming of
Yes.
that event, which is
Yeah.
quite interesting. to see
I'm
the
well into
debate.
streaming. I was listening to the whole debate as I was walking from County Hall across town, going on about streaming a bit, but it's great, isn't it, when you can multitask?
Hi, I just wondered if you had something like they showed earlier about incidences in Cornwall which do flooding or events or like weather, extreme weather that can be used to demonstrate to local skeptics about.
Like the ones I just showed.
Well, yeah, that is there actually a link that we can get information
You
like
can have this PowerPoint.
Okay.
So the flyer that I'm going to give you will have my email address on, and because it's heavy, I'll retransfer it to you. So you just get a link you click on, and then you download it. So you can have any of those, and then you can lift off what you want.
Quickly, I just want to emphasise something that you mentioned, is you don't actually have to be on the council to have powerful advocacy. Most councils have a slot at the beginning of their meetings where they allow members of the public to speak for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And you can put over some issues that you want to put over them. I mean, certainly an example on our parish council was that we had plastic-free Roseland come to us, which was a separate group who wanted to advocate for plastic-free businesses across the Roseland area. Gerrans. And they came and spoke for 5 minutes in the public forum to start with, and then we were glad to take on some of the recommendations that they made.
It's great. It's a good
So,
positive.
You can do it without being on the council yourself, was the point I wanted to get, if you or three want to do.
Just want to backtrack a minute just about the car thing, because there was a car issue that came up about electric cars, and I think a few people, and I was listening, and I just thought, gosh, I wish I was there, because there's a big audience to say. So I'm not saying this to win hearts. It's my choice, but I choose to work voluntarily about 75%. So what I'm trying to say to you is I'm quite poor through choice, right? Very low income. But I have a 2-year-old Nissan Leaf outside, and the numbers stacked up. So I'm just going to tell you a very quick story that you can share with anybody else. So this isn't to feel sorry for me, but just to throw you. Right, but the point being, I was getting my car MOT'd 2 years ago, and it was only 8 years old, diesel. And the guy said to me, I don't know why people like you haven't got an electric car. And I said, because people like me have got 26 grand. And he said, well, your clutch is about to go, that's 600 quid. Your filter went to Christmas, that was £1,000, ruined your Christmas, didn't it, Lucy? Yes, it did. And a few months before that, it was something else. And those spikes rock my world, as they do yours. I don't know how much money you've got, nobody wants big car bills, do they? He then said, and he sells cars, not electric ones, putting himself out of business, and he said, go and get a contract one. Go and get a contract one, you can have one for 190 quid, and it's going to cost you hardly anything to charge it, and you won't have your petrol. How much do you spend on petrol a month? Diesel. And I said 150 quid. So you can have an electric car for 200 for a fancy one, and to charge it for 110 miles, 2 quid. So the numbers actually stack up. I obviously have a small business, so I put that against the tax man, that payment as well. So it's all getting better all along. And for £2 I can charge. So the other day I had to go to Plymouth, and I thought, gosh, I get to change my car again, 110 miles there and back, bit iffy. So I popped into Nissan on the way and went, can I borrow a car? Because So I just left mine, took one of theirs, drove up, did what I had to do, thanks, got in mine and went back. The charging unit they give you, it's all at home. I've got solar, and if I haven't got solar, I've got renewable electricity. So either way, whatever I put in, I'm driving
Why
on
did they let
sunshine.
you borrow a car then, just on the grounds that you've got some electric one yourself?
Because they've sold about 10, because I keep going on.
Sorry?
Because they've sold about 10, because I keep going on about it.
So how
you just go and test drive it,
Yeah.
and I bet you all 50 pence that you will buy one.
Yeah.
Because once you've test driven it and driven it, and you realise how easy it is, even hybrids, it's just complicated. But
So where'd you go for this?
well, obviously other companies apply, but Nissan, if you go to Bodmin and if you speak to the guys up there, they're so nice and so friendly. They'll let you have a car for a few days,
Yeah.
because this is a sort of step change, but Nissan are on it. And there's a taxi fleet in St Austell. When I was buying mine, he said Nissan had just got in touch with them and said, you hammer your cars, your fleets, because they're taxis, drive charge, drive charge, drive charge. You've been hammering them for 5 years, can we test your batteries? Because nobody's done it. And they turned out that they were still 97% efficient. So I'm going to get to change my car next month. And then my car becomes one that's more affordable for someone else. And then I get to take the next one. So at the moment I'm going to have a choice between another car, and it's a bit boring because they've made it look like an ordinary car. And it's a bit bigger as well. Or a van, which I'm quite tempted because I've got a Springer, or a 7-seater, which means I can say to more people, come with me. And it's quite a nice experience.
I did some sums the other day because I'm sort of at a changing time in my life, and I don't do masses in mileage, but I added up what I'd spent in the year on the RAC and my insurance, that's when it came up, on all the bits and pieces, and I reckon if I lived another 20 years, I would be spending another £60,000.
Yeah. It's horrendous, isn't it? And my car, the depreciation, unbelievable. And, you know, I think apparently the only thing you've got to be careful of is you tell them how many miles, and if you go over that, then you're going to get hammered. But that's an easy one to just make sure you get it right. Otherwise, I can't tell you anything bad about it. In my role as dust and environment officer, I take part in eco services around the county, and if it goes a bit, if I'm going to go up there and then come back and then other stuff, because I need to charge the car instead of go out for the afternoon, I just say, oh, is there anywhere I can plug in when I'm up here? And in the summer, I pay them in cucumbers. By the time I've done a service, it's about 11 pence, and I think a cucumber's great, way to pay. So, and they like that, and you talk about it. So, moving on, the next thing I wanted to ask is, it's all very exciting, we've got 20 minutes left. Can anybody tell me anything about past climate that might help us frame our workshop about how we need to cut carbon emissions? Does anybody know any stories from the past, recent past, or deep past?
Would you be referring to vehicle technology and how it's moved on, or you want something outside the box?
Yeah, well, no, that's good. Something about climate, or that's fine, because yes, it's progressed.
Yeah, well, heavy goods. I know a bit about heavy goods vehicles because that's my world, and now, as you probably know, we're mixed up with the common market at the moment. And vehicles have to be Euro 2, Euro 3, Euro 4 and Euro 5. And each movement has cleaned up the emissions, it's cleaned up the vehicle, it's cleaned up the hygiene, it's cleaned up the whole way that transport runs. And I was actually at a seminar up in Bath, because Bath want to go carbon free. And they want to cut the emissions in Bath because there are a lot of problems with emissions in people's health. And the interesting thing was they had a chap there that ran a fleet of articulated lorries, and they're now all gas, run on gas. So they're now classed Euro 6, and the presentation went on for a long period of time, and there were some exemptions that if you go for vehicles in Bath, that you could still go into Bath but not receive a £100 penalty. And they were recovery vehicles for collection, any electric cars, any electric lorries. Yeah, to get them off of the street, because they didn't want a conventional engine and a big Arctic stuck up one of the hills and bring Bath to a standstill.
Thank you.
So that's the changes I've seen.
Brilliant. Can perhaps anybody else that can talk about anything else that's happened in the past that you can think of, about reasons why?
I was just talking about, I taught in the University of Building Design, Sustainable Building Design, and in the 1980s I was talking to my students about climate change in terms of the likelihood of a new rising ocean because of changes in the Northern Atlantic oscillation. So we were talking about problems related to that. In the time from then till now, our approach to what climate change might actually lead to has completely reversed itself. And I mean, even this morning, I mean, I'm a lot more worried than I was when I came in this morning.
And it's fascinating, isn't it, how past glacial climates, I mean, we should be under a lot of ice right now, but we're not. But, you know, there's anyway, we'll go to that one.
Really strange, you know, we're talking about when we're younger.
If we can make them short now, because we're getting close to time.
Just speak up a little.
And speak up.
Does anyone remember Crazy Horses by the Osmonds? Yes. Do you remember what it was about? It was about pollution. It was about air pollution, and specifically aimed at air pollution in cities. Now, I remember it was almost like a cell that was a big focus, was to help clear air pollution from vehicles. And I think I reached a stage where when I was hearing a lot of that had been done, I was like, woo! Yeah, we solved it. And I'm sitting here today going, whoa! Haven't solved it at all.
So let's carry on. What else can you think of like that? Brilliant.
CFCs and the ozone layer.
CFCs, and that was a good hit, wasn't it? So carry on, keep going. Other things that you think, anything from the past to do kind of
acid
good.
rain.
Pardon?
Smog.
Yeah. So pretty much eradicated that in some places, haven't we? In some places.
Little grains of soot on the windowsill up north.
It's amazing, isn't it? Can you think of any others?
Erosion in Pacific Islands.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And still going on.
Still going on.
Yeah. Anything else about past events? How deep past do you think about climate? How far back?
I tend to think about the geological events that have happened. I mean, the climate change, it's a thing that climate does change, it goes up and down. I mean, in the Cretaceous, when the chalk was deposited, Britain was a series of small islands. And if we get a lot of global warming, it will go back to being a series of small islands. You know, that will, where's all the creatures and the humans, you know, where are they all going to go? It's going to be a mass kind of...
It's good to visualise these things, isn't it? And think about, I think also past events like big flood events that we've heard about, that people know about, and sometimes perhaps need reminding, and past heat waves. Can anybody, this is one thing I find fascinating, can anybody very quickly remember the last heat wave?
In 1973.
Yeah.
There's been loads since then. But what's interesting is people forget. And I find that all the time. Big, massive heat waves. In 2003, there were thousands of people that died because of the heat wave then. But you're right, everyone always goes back.
Pollution warnings as well. And then in the 1990s, there was a warning that went out about the level of pollution. And we had a red sun set, bright red, which is telling you the level of pollution. And the amount of people admitted to hospital in England with asthma was equivalent to 5 plane crashes.
Wow.
And that was from air pollution.
Well,
and they asked people to stop jogging, and they asked the elderly not to go out, and they asked people with asthma not to go out. They didn't say stop driving.
So, in that, was it 2003? Anyway, I can't remember. I was in a heat wave in Greece, and the TV, every channel went off, and it was just the government going, have a shower every half an hour, drink water, eat vegetables, have a shower. This thing just kept going, and we were laying down, and I was trying to get a flight to come home to get away from it, because I was going to die. And in Athens, and it was so dreadful. But they had heart monitor stations every 100 yards on the national road, so that people could just go and get pumped. 44. That's a long time ago as well. So it's about these things that I think are really, really important. I'm going to show you some slides in a minute. That will help you.
Yeah. 45 degrees, the mitochondria in every cell that exists dies.
Yeah. And it was really frightening. But
Enzymes stop working at that point.
what I find fascinating, and it's it's another conversation thing that you can have, is that people do forget. And if they're somewhere where it's windy or they have to be on the beach, it's all right because we're having a nice hot day. But actually, think about who's near you that's quite old, or that can't get about, you know, and what we do need is ventilation, all the windows. I got called into the school, oh, we're sending teachers home, they're really sick. I was like, okay, let's have a look at the ventilation. So we looked at the ventilation, it's like, why haven't you opened the window? Oh, the bookshelf's in the way. You've just sent someone you're paying how many grand home, so all these children can't be taught because you can't push those books out of the way to open the window. You know, but actually something that happens all the time. And it wasn't that they couldn't be bothered, it's because they said, oh, it's jammed. It's not, that moves and you open it. And it's just little things that actually people forget, and that happens all the time. Sorry to bring it up, you might think it's a wasted comment, but it's not. So, future. Now, this one's going to be easy, but can you just chuck out a few things to me, future climate, that might help frame our workshop and why we need to cut emissions? Some of them we've talked about.
Sea level rise.
Pardon?
Sea level rise.
Well done. We haven't talked about that. Great. Can you think of anywhere in particular that might get affected that you know?
Everything out that window?
Plymouth.
Name a place.
Plymouth.
Name a place near where you live.
Plymouth.
Near where you live. Some moors. Definitely. Definitely. Lou. Anywhere else?
Coverack.
I'd be more
Cover
worried
it.
about Plymouth.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of thousands of people there, isn't there?
They're in.
Where are they going?
Definitely. They're in. They're in. People are used to it though. I think if you want to learn about resilience, go to their
If it doesn't rise beyond a certain point, it doesn't.
Tony, what about Truro? What about Truro?
Truro, Lemon Key, Devon, Pernal-Wordle. There are
So
bungalows there about a foot above the water.
Everybody's pretty close. Would you say you're resilient already? No. Okay. But this is something that you can chat up people. I'll tell a story. Can I tell a story that I promised not to tell anybody else? And that is that a certain pointy building in the middle of Truro, once they said, can you help us with our fundraising for doing some work in a building? And I said, no, because there's a river next to it and I can't do that, sorry. And they said, what are you talking about? And I said, well, in about 10, 20 years, you know, why don't you put a glass floor in the cathedral? People can pray with a river running underneath it. And they looked at me like I was crazy. But actually I think, you know, you've got to think like that, haven't you? So you can help people think differently about getting resilient. Now, do you, let's bring that on. Do you consider yourself in a position to help others consider these things? Is there anybody here that still thinks they might struggle? I think you're all rock on and ready. Does anybody have experience themselves of cutting emissions?
Not on a personal level or on a larger level?
Just a quick one.
I've got solar thermal hot water thing on the roof.
Brilliant.
It's not PV, but it's run by PV.
Well done.
And I've got an air source heat pump in my living room,
Oh, well, we'll come round later and see that.
which is very good.
You've got solar control.
So, brilliant.
I'm reducing my need for drawing energy, and I've bought a funny oven that only uses 400 watts.
Excellent. Oh, that's great. Reducing the need to draw it in the first place.
I'm using bus pass.
Brilliant. Okay, great.
Grow vegetables.
Grow your own. Fantastic. At the back.
Haven't used an aeroplane for 12 years.
Yay! 12 years. Well done. Well done. Okay, has anyone switched to renewable energy at home?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm going to share something with you now. I've been asking people to do that for a long time, and because of various things that have been going on, in the last 3 weeks, I've counted 17 times when somebody has said to me, and it shocked me, what do you mean by switching to renewables? Now, take that as you will, but that actually hurt my heart. And I've learned a lot, and I've said to some of the key people here, this is what happened. I had a parent ring me up after the schools. What was all that about? My child doesn't know. Now, a lot of them did. I'm not dissing it at all, because it was brilliant. But one mum did, and then she said, and I don't know what it's all about. She's ex-RAF. And when I said, how about you switch to renewables? She said, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so the reason I'm saying that is we still, with that hand-holding, with that consideration of that person, they might not know. They might not have had that interaction. And if they don't know, the point of bringing these up is these 10 pledges. So the first one, I will hand them out, but I just want you to hear the wording. I pledge to ring my electricity supplier over the next 24 hours and see if I can switch to green energy. in brackets, if not, I'll find one. So you're not putting pressure on, you will switch, right? They don't even know what it means.
Could I just say something about?
Can I just finish this
Yeah,
a minute? So by pledging to ring, so say you're with a data company and you ring them up and you know they're going to say, no, we don't have a green tariff or a renewable. But they have a little box that they tick. So you've asked, so they're doing that. So that's going into their customer service thing. That's going down the lane, and meanwhile at the top, all this transition pathway initiative went to the stock market last July and went, we're worth 7 trillion. Do you want to clean up your act in line with Paris, or we're going to take our money somewhere else? That's what the Archbishop did. How cool is that? So we can work on it from the bottom up. They're working on it from that angle. But chances are the company that you're with might have a green tariff. If not, go to one of the comparison websites and pretty much guarantee that you will find a green energy company that's cheaper now. I took part in a service the other day, and after I was a little, I don't get down about anything, I got down about these people saying they didn't know what it meant. And I abandoned what I normally talked about and devoted the whole 9 minutes to switching to renewables. There were only 12 people there, and afterwards at coffee, there was one lady who goes, yeah, I've switched to Octopus. And the others hadn't switched, right? So she said, well, if you switch with me, I'll get 50 quid and you'll get 50 quid. I just watched it all on board. And she made 400 quid. How cool is that? I told Cornwall Council the other day, and she went, we want to film that. I said, come on, let's do it. So it's about the wording. There's no, you will switch, but just can you ring your electricity supplier? They've all got an 0800, most of them have, haven't they? So the second one, I'm only going to talk about 3. The second one is I pledged to buy local seasonal produce as much as possible, starting with 2 meals a week. Now, your cakes came from the local baker at Devon, that garage, and buying local food, not only are you stopping things from coming all the way down the A30 or beans flown in from Chile and stopping that carbon emissions from going in the atmosphere, you're also sending people on a pathway to grow vegetables. Because actually when they buy that local veg, and when we have a heat wave, they can't get their spuds because there wasn't enough water, you start them thinking about resilience. It's not immediate with this pledge, but it happens down the line. Point being, 2 meals a week. It's not easy, especially in the off-season, locally sourced food. So we're building up a resilience. People with children, you know, when you get to, if you get to a conversation where it's upsetting you and say, how are you going to get vitamin C in your child if we can't bring food down the A30? How are you going to do that in the off-season? What are you going to grow? Can you grow something? There's different ways of framing it, but pledge 2, you know, and also if you've got difficult persons not interested, here is your license to buy a pasty twice a week. Okay? Supporting the local economy, locally food, so you can be flexible with it, you can have a bit of fun with it. When we did these pledges, and some of you know that, it was all about a trusted messenger. He came and asked me, he was the canon of the cathedral, can you help us get people mobilised at Cornwall to cut carbon with Bert Biscoe? And we went along and did that, and in 4 months we had 4,500 pledges being done. But it was about asking, and because, as I said to you, I'm not naturally an academic, and I was here going, what am I going to do for my dissertation? Oh, I know, I'll go and ask those people if they did actually do them, and what did they do? Which is why I can tell you, pledge 1, switching your electricity to a renewable supplier, you stop about 3 carbon tonnes from going up in the atmosphere by switching to renewables. If everybody did that, we're going to stop a lot of emissions from going into the atmosphere. And that's something you can tell someone who can't see it, who can't understand it. So how you help people to engage is important. But you also need to thank them. In part of my research, I made sure that we said thank you. And we talked to a few people after we'd asked them to particularly do these things, and you do need to nudge them. Because all of these things, you know, even if we were at a gardening club today, oh yeah, I'm going to do all that with all those seeds, I'm going to grow everything. And you go home and you'll do some of it, won't you? And you don't do all of it. We've got that little pile that you keep needing to do. With this, you're going to have to nudge people, look after them, say thank you. And even people that have been doing it for years do need that. This is, I've just put this in here so you know you can come back to it. This was the end of my work here. There's Stefan. And this lady is brilliant. So she's, Catherine Mitchell's here. She's one of the leading authors of the IPCC report as well. An ordinary lady in Falmouth. And when people see it's not so scary, these clear messages from these people that are condensed into these 10 pledges become really doable. So can you be the trusted messenger to lead the way? I think we're just coming to the end, and what I wanted to do was just flick through a couple more pictures so that you know what you've got. So this is going west. Yep. And this is the positive bit. Now, Nigel brought it up. What about trees? There is some good news from the government. Shall I say that again?
No way.
Good news from the government. The 25-year plan. I think it's smashing. It's a shock that we even got one. Let's face it, isn't it? So we've got one, and if you haven't read it, please do read it. It's brilliant. It's our licence to party. In the government's plan, the advice came from the Natural Capital Committee, and government took it. And in it, it says, get young people in local natural spaces. Get them to enjoy biodiversity. So your health and well-being is in that document, waiting for you to harness it. In my diocesan role, I went running off to the environment bishop and went, what are you waiting for? You've got 10,000 churchyards across the country. Invite them in. So we're trying to get gardening clubs going. There's a few places where we've mixed church with transition groups. People that don't even want to go and worship in a church. It's a beautiful building. It's got a churchyard around it. Link up with them. Go and see them. I promise you, even if you don't want to go, and there are some people in this building that have come to some of the eco-services I do that didn't want to go in the church, but had a great time, and they're working on projects together. Let's do this. It's in there. And there's lots of other things, and there'll be funding coming from that. Chapter 3 is the one you want to read. There's loads of other bits that are good in it. But chapter 3 is about natural capital. The whole thing is saying, if you haven't heard that concept, natural capital is nature. It's all that green stuff out there. And if you, what they're working on at the moment, if you put a spreadsheet on that out there, sorry, vulgar, isn't it? If you did, the first line, we were all running around in the forest, staying out the NHS system. You can put a figure on that spreadsheet. It's holding all the rain, not causing the 2.8 billion a year flooding event. Put a number in the column. Economists are like scratching their head like, yeah, how accurate? We'll be quiet.
And mental health advantages of
Health and well-being. It's sequestering carbon, another figure. And down the bottom, there's a brilliant lady called Miranda Winroot, who's done this forestry enterprise. And she, I saw her and...
Sorry to interrupt, but it's sort of 5 o'clock now,
Yep,
so...
yep, we just got 2 minutes. She put this spreadsheet on it, and George Eustace has walked away because he was convinced by it in November. And I see that as payments, future payments for holding on to the green stuff. So when you get into a planning situation, this is the government says keep the green stuff, so stick with it at any cost. Very quickly, this was then, this is London, this is where they are now, this is how much water they need in the future, this is how much they'll have, right? They were worrying a lot. I was on the back stairs and met the engineer that was saying about that. He said they've costed out melting an iceberg in London. It's true. It's true. But the good bit is positive, negative, positive, negative. 25-year plan, very positive. Use it. Talk to people about it. Oh, Lord Whitley, this guy here is brilliant. He started the Climate Change Act. He's very quiet. I go and see him and he's scared of me. Oh, you're lovely. You're all well done. Thank you. It's people that make the changes that you need to remember to speak to and say thank you. You've got this image that you can talk about. That's how much carbon we cut with those in just the first effort. That is 1 tonne of gas, carbon dioxide gas. You switch to renewables, you stop 3 of those going up there, causing this problem. Yeah. Have this idea that all these events we talk about, in my research, everybody that said anything related to what they did, they related it to an image. So, how do you feel about making a start? You can be the trusted messenger. Please go for it. Take one of these with you. It's got my details on it. There's some there, and then when they run out, there's some church ones. Don't be scared. You can still put it in, send it. Right? Take these first. Take one each, and then get in touch. I can send you the artwork and the link online.
Nice to meet you too.
Say yes, the green. Yes. I don't think